The following is a special presentation of Ashland University's College of Arts and Sciences.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the CAS Spotlight, a show where we spotlight the different departments, staff, and faculty from the College of Arts and Sciences. I'm your host, Rebecca Ribley. With 17 departments across campus, Ashland's College of Arts and Sciences encompasses a wide range of programs with everything from art to social work, history and politics, English to foreign languages, just to name a few. Today in the spotlight, we have Dr. Jennifer Rathbun and Dr. Barbara Schmidt-Rinehart from Ashland University's Foreign Languages Department. Thank you so much for being with us today.
You're welcome. Thank you. It's our pleasure. We're really excited to talk about the many benefits of studying a foreign language here at Ashland University.
Okay, so to start out, I want to ask, how many foreign languages do we offer here at Ashland?
To begin with, I'd like to highlight our two programs that we offer full Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science of Education, and that's Spanish and French. Those are the two most commonly taught languages in the United States and in the state of Ohio. So we have both a bachelor's and a BSED in Spanish and French. We also offer a wide variety of minors in Spanish and French as well. In addition to those two languages, we have added Portuguese to our curriculum, and in the fall of 2013, we'll be offering Portuguese for the first time ever here at Ashland. And we have also incorporated the study of Latin into our department as well.
Okay, so what would you say is unique about our particular program here at Ashland?
That's hard to summarize in just a few words. There are so many different aspects that make the study of foreign languages different and unique to Ashland University. But I would like to highlight, especially since we're here with Barb Schmidt-Rinehart, the program that we have in Costa Rica, which is a real addition to the Spanish program. Barb has been in charge of AU Abroad, which has been in Mexico for some years, and then transferred to Costa Rica just a few years ago. I don't know if she would like to speak to that.
Yeah, I think that it's unique for us because it's so integral to our department. We have students going to Costa Rica, to Santa Ana, right outside of San Jose each summer, and they study for 4, 6, or 8 weeks, and they live with families, and it's the optimal learning environment. Here we practice a lot of formal instruction in class, but there they have the opportunity to go outside of class and practice everything that they learned inside of class. So it's been really successful because of that, and Costa Rica is a great country to study in. It's very stable and peaceful and beautiful as far as biodiversity. But the main thing is our students, many of our students do the Costa Rica program in order to really make the language come alive for them, and yeah, it's been a favorite part of our program, and it's not just for people that major and minor in languages. Anybody that is studying the language once they've had 1 year is eligible for our program. So yeah, we find that to be a really unique part. I think too, just thinking about the fact that our professors teach language classes as well as literature classes and civilization classes. We advise our students, so from the very beginning, students are involved with their professors, and we just have excellent professors and very hands-on in the classroom and with the students, and we teach for proficiency, and we travel a lot, and we all have really dedicated our lives to the study of languages, and we hopefully are passing that enthusiasm along to our students.
I think that's why a lot of students come to AU, because it's very hands-on and you get to make a relationship with your professors, and I think that's great, and that's what you guys are doing.
Definitely.
So what drew you personally to the foreign language department?
Oh, you know, it was so long ago. This is my 27th year at Ashland, so I can hardly remember that. But I will tell you that, well, first of all, I first went abroad when I was 16, so I'm like the study abroad queen, and I studied abroad all through college and just loved Spanish ever since I had a really significant Spanish professor in high school. But what draws me to be a professor at AU is, I think, just that the smallness of AU, you can make a difference in a hurry with both students and across campus and with curriculum. It's easy to get things done. And I think that that's what draws me to stay at AU for my whole career, because I think I was really able to affect change in the lives of a lot of students and get other people passionate about the language and have the freedom to create programs. And like, we were in Mexico for 20 years, we've been in Costa Rica for 5 years, and we have students studying in other countries. We work across disciplines with students of all majors, and we can easily stay in our area of expertise. Mine is second language acquisition and Spanish linguistics, but I also teach basic language classes, and that gives me the chance to be with the students that aren't majors and minors, and that doesn't always happen at all universities, and that's what I like about Ashland.
What about for you?
Well, the study of a foreign language opens the door to new worlds, but it also opens the door to self-discovery. And I discovered long ago that I love literature, but it was in the university setting that I discovered that I actually love literature in Spanish. And I wanted to share that knowledge with future upcoming generations. And I've found that what attracted me to Ashland, to being a professor with Ashland, is so many of the students at Ashland have not yet traveled, and they begin to explore the world through our classrooms when we open the doors for them. And then actually a lot of our students do go abroad once, if not twice. In fact, several of our students in the Spanish program especially attend the Costa Rica program, come back, and they want to go again, and they wind up spending a semester abroad somewhere else. So for me, it was the desire to share my personal passion with students.
So going off of that, what would you say is the value of learning a foreign language?
It's invaluable, actually. You can't put a dollar sign to it. As I said before, it opens the door to self-discovery. You learn so much about yourself when you have to express yourself in another language. You learn a lot about your culture and your beliefs when you learn about someone else's culture and beliefs. And you can learn how strong and independent you are by functioning in another language. Not only that, learning another language gives you a skill set that is in demand and is marketable. So if you are graduating today and you speak another language, you're just going to be that much more attractive to a potential employer than someone who has not studied another language. In the case of Spanish, there's 55 million Hispanics living in the United States. We're the third largest Spanish-speaking country in the world. You need Spanish to do almost any profession, anywhere. Even here in Ashland, we get contacted from businesses and individuals that they need someone that can speak both languages.
Yeah, that's very well put. I can't imagine having too much to add to that, but I can't imagine not knowing another language in 2013. And when you look at living in this global society and people talk about being globally competent, the idea that you would only be able to communicate in one language and not cross cultures, because linguistically, I mean, you can go vacation and you can interact with other people, but if you can't speak their language, you can't really make that cross-cultural connection. So I can't imagine being monolingual in 2013. It just doesn't connect for me. It doesn't compute for me that in this world today, and when we're looking toward people to be globally competent and cross-linguistic and cultural boundaries, you just can't do that without knowing another language.
So how many different languages do you know?
Oh, I'm only proficient in Spanish and in English. I can read Italian and French and Portuguese, a reading knowledge, but I only speak Spanish and French, or Spanish and English.
What about you?
The same.
Do you find it's easier to read the different languages because you know Spanish? Yeah.
The second and third and fourth languages, come easier, or the third, fourth, and fifth, I guess it would be after that.
And then once a student or once someone has knowledge of a foreign language, you can maneuver with much greater ease in a foreign setting, and with a foreign language you know how to communicate. So they're transferable skills. And also with the study of French or Spanish, they have similar roots. So if you're put in a situation where you are only listening to another language that you haven't necessarily studied, you can still figure it out and operate. You're also, when you learn a language, you're learning about, you're learning a cultural competency, which is also transferable in other situations and languages as well.
So I want to go on by talking about something new that was added to the 2012-2000 catalog, and that is the GPS. Can you expand on that and explain what it is?
I love the title, the GPS, because you know, so many of us these days have a GPS in our cars, and it helps us get to our destination. And so I like to think of the GPS really guiding the student to get to their destination. And what is that destination? It's someone who can be globally competent, someone who can cross linguistic and cultural barriers. And so Ashland has put together this great program where a student can decide which pathway or which trip do I want to take. Do I want to study the modern language track? Do I want to combine languages with some other courses about culture in English? Or do I just want to study abroad? And I think that all three of those tracks are amazing. And I also see how foreign languages is really an essential part to every single one of those tracks.
After this short break, we'll be back with more on Ashland University's Foreign Languages Department, right after this.
Ashland University's Journalism and Digital Media Department is the only fully converged and integrated program in Ohio. And our award-winning student newspaper covers our campus and beyond. WRDL 88.9 FM broadcasts news, sports, and top 40 music 24 hours a day to Ashland County. JDM majors apply converged skills in practical, hands-on labs, using state-of-the-art hardware and software content creation tools, alongside our multi-award-winning faculty in a great facility. Ashland University's Journalism and Digital Media Department, creating converged digital media professionals for the 21st century. Storytellers wanted.
If you're just joining us, our guests on this edition of the CAS Spotlight are the Chair of the Foreign Languages Department, Dr. Jennifer Rathbun, and Professor Barbara Schmidt-Rinehart. Thank you again for being with us. So I want to go on about talking about the GPS. And I want to ask you, do you think students are taking advantage of the study abroad portion in that?
I think it's probably the biggest challenge for students. I think that the original view and excitement of the GPS was to get more people studying languages and more people studying abroad in whatever form that would be. So that's why the tracks were put together the way they were. I think that it's challenging for students to consider it if they've never considered it before. That's why the Costa Rica program works out so well, because some students go on the Costa Rica program as a requirement, and they say over and over again, I never dreamt that I would be doing something like this because I'm not a language major, and look at me, look at what this has done, and it's changed my life. And so that's, I think, the same thing with the study abroad, whether it's short term or whether it's for a semester. Sometimes we have to really help students embrace the idea and see that it's possible. I mean, there are scholarships. Sometimes it doesn't cost any more than being here on campus. It is integrated into your course requirements. It's not just something extra and on top of it. So, and then of course we really like the ones that have the language and the study abroad combined, because that, that's perfect. But I think that the answer to your question is probably no right at this time. As many people as we would like are not taking advantage of that option. But I think it's just a matter of time. We need to change our culture on campus so that people, when they come to Ashland University, they say, I'm a student at Ashland University and I go abroad, or I study languages, and that's what it means to have a GPS requirement. And I think that's what we're all working toward.
We are slowly changing the culture here on campus. Programs like this, for example, help spread the word to talk about the benefits of studying abroad, to talk about the benefits of studying a foreign language. Because since it was not a requirement or built into many of the programs before, there's faculty members that are still unaware of the benefits. They're still unaware what it means to study a language or to study abroad. So slowly we're changing the culture, and I think over time we will see a greater number of students traveling and a greater number of students studying a language. As my colleague just said, it'll be like their badge of honor. I go to Ashland and this is what I do.
Okay. So what time of the year does the Costa Rica trip take place?
It takes place right in the time you shouldn't be visiting Costa Rica, in the rainy season. No, students typically go for, it's a flexible program, but our dates are the middle of May, right after graduation, for 4, 6, or 8 weeks. So it's May 18th to June 16th or something like that this year. And it's not a faculty-led trip, and we're pretty adamant about that in the foreign language department, because we believe that students are adults. We believe they can travel on their own, and we do catch them down there and have a very high support system for them down there. And I do go down and visit them while they're down there. But the students live with families, and they attend this school down there that we're in very close contact with. But they're on their own to do a study abroad for even that short period of time. But it's in May and June is typically when students go.
Okay, so do the majority of the foreign language majors choose to study abroad?
Definitely, yes. They realize that they've been learning this language and they want to put it to use in one of its native contexts, and they become really excited. Several students plan their trips for an entire year before going. Yeah.
Okay. So when they come back, do you see growth in their language development?
Definitely. There's nothing like being totally immersed in the language to boost your proficiency in that language. But not only that, I talked about self-discovery earlier. Traveling abroad is an intense period of self-discovery. So we find that our students come back and they've matured intellectually, emotionally. They're adults. They're ready to graduate. They're ready to move into their next steps. And I joke with them because typically when we send our students off, we see them as they're still young college students, and when they come back, they are very much young adults ready for the profession.
Or citizens of the world, to not be too trite, but it really does happen, that they very much have kind of just embraced that whole global view of things. And yeah, it's a life-changing experience for them, and I think the language is their entree into really understanding the culture.
So you both obviously would highly recommend studying abroad to any student.
Definitely.
Yes. Okay. All right, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Coming up, we'll take an around-the-world tour and learn about Ashland's Study Abroad program right after this.
I think we are a unique program for a number of reasons. First, within the state of Ohio, we were just recently recognized as the only fully converged journalism and digital media department in the state. And what that means is we're the only ones that have a fully integrated curriculum where you're going to come here and you're going to learn newspaper, web, broadcast for both radio and TV. No other curriculum in the state can offer a student that. So it makes us unique because you're going to come out of here knowing all sorts of different platforms, and that's going to make you that much more marketable when you're going to look for a job.
Back with more CAS Spotlight. We're joined by Rebecca Parillo, Director of Global Education here at Ashland University, and Lindsey Tippett, who studied in France. Thank you both for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so I want to start out with talking with Rebecca. We have an amazing study abroad program here at Ashland. What makes our particular program unique?
I think the variety of programs that we have everything from semester programs, summer programs, faculty-led tours, student teaching abroad, performance tours, missions trips. There is such a variety out there for students to take advantage of, and regardless of their major, there's something there for them to have a travel opportunity to enhance their academic program here at the university.
Okay, so the question that all students want to know, is studying abroad expensive?
It depends on the program. There are programs out there that are less expensive than Ashland University, and we are developing more exchange programs. And exchange programs are semester-long experiences where we accept students from an international university and we send students to that international university. So they're hand-selected. We know that it's a good fit for our students, and those programs are very inexpensive. Students for an exchange program have the option of paying Ashland University tuition and taking all of their aid with them, or only paying $5,000 in AU tuition, and they get to use their federal, their state aid, outside bank loans and scholarships to pay for that. So for a semester experience, it's what they either pay at AU or less than that. And there are a number of programs that are less expensive than AU out there as well, especially if students are interested in Central and South America. If they're looking outside of the European Union, there are less expensive programs than AU. But there are a number of programs, a lot of programs that are expensive and pricey. So I don't want that to be a deterrent, that concern of not being able to afford it, that students don't come and explore the opportunities, because they might be surprised how they're able to afford it or able to use federal and state aid to help them out.
So do you have to be in a particular major in order to study abroad, or is this open to anyone?
I think it's open to everyone. I know there are a lot of majors that are very difficult to figure out how they would go abroad for a semester. I think the GPS requirement has really opened the doors for that. We've got some of those more challenging, more structured and intense majors that are those chairs are looking for ways for students to go abroad for a semester. But if a semester isn't something that a student's interested in or cannot figure out with their double major, triple major, then there are faculty-led tours that focus on core classes. There are summer programs where students can take core classes or a class in their major and a core class. Lots of different ways that they can figure out how to travel.
Okay, so how many different places in the world can a student from Ashland University study abroad?
Oh, wow. Well, really, they can study anywhere that there's not a U.S. State Department travel warning. That's one university rule because of the risk involved with going to a State Department travel warning country. We don't allow students to transfer credits back from that type of location. Other than that, the sky's the limit. There may be only 30 or 40 countries that they can't go to that's on that list. So we have students that hit everywhere, all around the globe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, Lindsey, you studied abroad. Where did you travel?
I went to Strasbourg, France, which is up in the north.
Okay. And what drew you to the study abroad program?
I'm a foreign language major. I want to teach French, and so I knew I needed to go abroad in order to really immerse myself and learn my language. But even that, I just knew that I wanted to travel. I really love that kind of stuff, so I went with that.
Okay. And who did you stay with when you were in France?
I had a host mom. She had her own apartment, and she had a little one above her garage for a roommate and I. And so she brought dinner down every night for us, and we would just chat, and the poor thing answered millions of questions for us that we had about French culture and things like that. So
you mentioned you had a roommate. Was she also from AU?
She was not from AU, but she was American. She went to a school in Pennsylvania. So she was just a regular American student that happened to go with this program that I went with. So.
And do you keep in touch with your host mom at all?
With my host mom, we email a little bit. I wish we kept in more contact. And then my roommates and the people that I went with about 14 people. We all kind of keep in touch. Everyone's Facebook friends and things like that. So.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with more about Ashland University's Study Abroad program right after this short break.
Newspaper reporters all over the country are being asked to produce multimedia content online to accompany their stories that appear in the newspaper. And so we really want to stress that you can't focus solely on print anymore. If you want to get a job when you get out of college as a journalism major, you have to be able to prove that you can report and edit for any of the mediums.
Welcome back to the CAS Spotlight. We're joined by Rebecca Parillo, Director of Global Education here at Ashland University, and Lindsey Tippett, who studied in France. Thank you for joining us again. So I want to go back to Rebecca and ask you, where is the most popular destination that you see students studying?
Ooh. I think some of the popular programs are the Germany program, AU in Costa Rica, so those are definitely some key locations where students go. Some students like to stick to English speaking, so England and Ireland and sometimes even South Africa, Australia, New Zealand are popular. But I am seeing some students being more adventurous. The Czech Republic is becoming a destination that's pretty popular with students. I've had students go to Ecuador. I've had students that have gone to, with languages, they've gone to Spain and France. Taiwan is becoming a more popular destination as well for students who are interested in learning about Asian cultures and learning Chinese.
Okay. Now, Lindsey, did you travel anywhere else while you were in France?
I did. When you span out my whole semester, I think I traveled every other weekend, and I spent a lot of time in Germany because you could walk right across the border, to the extent that that's where my host mom did her grocery shopping. So I went and saw the place where I was born. I was born in Germany, so I got to go revisit there. I went to Munich and went to Oktoberfest. I went to Salzburg, which is where The Sound of Music was taped. So I got to go to a lot of different places. Most of the time they were German speaking. I didn't stick to a lot of French places. But
where was the favorite place that you went to?
I really loved doing Paris because I did it right in a day, and so I had to make myself a bucket list and run to all those places and see them all. So.
Yeah. Rebecca, do you see or hear about students traveling other places while they're studying abroad?
I think that's one of the benefits of studying abroad. I hear about students traveling all over the place, and I enjoy meeting with students afterwards and hearing about all the different countries that they were able to visit and the things that they were able to see, and their faces just light up with this opportunity that they didn't even think was a possibility for them. And some students really surprised me, but the distance that they do. I had a student who was in Scotland that went to Japan and back, and just amazing some of the miles that students are able to travel during their short breaks or their long weekends.
It's always interesting to hear students that have studied abroad talk about food. Lindsey, what would you say was your favorite food while you were in France?
My favorite was just trying all of the little cheeses. There was a grocery store where you could get a little sample for €5. So I really, really loved doing that. And I just told my students today I tried escargot one of my last weeks there, which was interesting to say the least. So,
do you think that studying in France is going to help you with being a teacher?
Absolutely. First of all, the kids only really listen until you start talking about culture, which is really great. And two, it also helps because my language was better. And I'm also a lot more confident person by going. I kind of had some sticky situations and I found the way out of them instead of calling mom or dad, And so absolutely, I'm a more confident person because of going. So that helps a lot.
That's great. Mm-hmm. So Rebecca, do you see students coming to you more often looking to fulfill their GPS requirements?
Yeah, I love being a part of the GPS, and there's two travel components within the GPS. There's the course with Study Away, and those can be faculty-led tours. It could also be international internships. I'm seeing an increase in that. And then we've got the semester track, which students can take 4 or 5 classes abroad, and it all transfers back either as core classes or in their major or their minor. I work very closely with students to make sure that happens, and along with their advisors. And so I am seeing an increase in traffic. Students are coming to AU, they have the GPS in front of them, and they're coming to meet with me to see what are the possibilities and things that are available.
Okay. Now I just want to ask you, do you see students studying abroad by themselves or with a group more often?
It's interesting. There's an article that came out recently, and it said the reason students don't study abroad is they don't go because of friends, family, finances, and fear. And so I'm really trying to target that, and we're doing campaigns where we're showing plasma screens where there are 2 friends going together, or we'll have an individual student go, but there are other university students that are awaiting them as part of that program. So I do see a lot of students travel by themselves, but then also in groups, and I've had 2 friends at 2 different universities go on the same study abroad program and meet abroad. So I think it's great if you can talk a friend into going with you. The more the merrier, but knowing that a lot of students do go by themselves, if it's typically on a semester or summer program, the faculty-led tours are created so that they'll go with their friends and other AU students, but they'll be embraced by all the students that are also traveling by themselves once they get to their destination.
Okay, Lindsey, what would you say was your very favorite part overall about studying abroad?
I really loved my trips. It was kind of fun to go because you bought souvenirs. I mean, my suitcase, I had to leave things there. So it was really fun to go and like see these new places. Yeah, I think traveling was my favorite, and just being there and kind of getting to live like that fun little European life for a few minutes was kind of fun. So.
Would you recommend studying abroad to your friends?
Yes, like 5,000,000%. I think I grew so much while I was over there, and I think I gained so much educationally, and it's not just because of my major of being language. Like, I learned things while I was over there. I learned history that I didn't learn in high school, things like that. And it's just plain fun, and you get to like have a mini vacation while still kind of learning along the way. So, yeah.
Okay. Rebecca, I want to close by asking you, what do you think is the most important thing students can take away from studying abroad?
Ooh. Well, there are so many benefits to study abroad. I don't think I can limit it to just one, but students take classes that aren't offered here at the university. I had a student that just came back from the Czech Republic. He talked about the unique history and political science classes he was able to take. Students go abroad and they study languages that aren't offered here at the university. I have a student right now who's learning Italian. Chinese is another popular language that students are learning abroad. And also, I have students that take science classes in Australia where they go scuba diving and snorkeling, and they're in a rainforest. We don't have that here in Ashland. There's a great Paris Fashion Institute where one of the students, their homework assignment is to visit 40 stores, which includes Chanel and Louis Vuitton, and they go inside and they check out the displays. And again, we don't have those in our area, so what a wonderful complement to their academics. If they're learning a language, there's nothing better than being immersed in that language, learning it that morning and talking with your host family in the evening and going shopping and using that new vocabulary. And it's fun for me to talk with study abroad students once they've returned because of that confidence that they've gained. They just feel that they can do anything. And I guess another thing I'd like to add is, Ashland University students are making a big financial investment in their education, and I hear over and over again how the study abroad experience on their resume has brought it to the top of the pile, and they've also been able to talk about it in interviews and something unique from their other candidates, and so to at least explore that and come up to the 7th floor of the library and find out what the options are to help yourself be that perfect candidate for the job that you want.
Okay, so if students are interested, you said they would come to the 7th floor of the library?
7th floor of the library.
Okay, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having us.
And we'd like to thank our other guests, Jennifer Rathbun and Dr. Barbara Schmidt-Rinehart from Ashland University's Foreign Language Department. Thank you so much for joining us today on this episode of the CAS Spotlight. I'm your host, Rebecca Ribley. See you next time.